nonsense, yes. And then we also discussed the difference between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, right? And we also discussed something else. Let's see, what was the other thing? We discussed oh yeah, by the way, you have the notes, Prabhu? Did I correct it? Yes. Okay, so we're going to get the notes right now from yesterday. And we only discussed 2 points of bhava, but actually there are 9 points of bhava. So we're going to go over that now. So let's just go over what we learned yesterday. So let's, you seem to like that, how to filter out nonsense. So what are the 3 points for filtering out nonsense? This is Bhakta Michael's favorite subject here. Yeah. Yes.
I think the last one was like, is it gonna help me in Krishna consciousness or something?
That's one of them, yes. Yes.
Is it pleasing to Krishna?
That's one of them also.
And is it true or false?
Exactly right. Is it true or false? So if someone says, hey, Michael, I got something to tell you. And Michael says, okay, but first it has to pass my test to filter out nonsense. And they said, what is that? He said, well, I got 3 questions to ask you. Question 1, if what you want to tell me, is it true or false? I'm not sure. Okay. Number 2, will it help me in Krishna consciousness? I'm not sure. And number 3, is it pleasing to Krishna? He said, well, I'm not sure. He said, well, then I'm not sure I want to hear what it is. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Right? So that's how to filter out nonsense. You have 3 questions, right? So what's question 1? Is it true or false? Question number 2? Will it help me in Krishna consciousness? Point number 3? Is it pleasing to Krishna, right? If their answers are, I don't know, or no, then you say, well, then the answer is no, I don't want to hear it, because it's nonsense, right? So that's called the filter of nonsense. Then secondly, we learned 4 points of definition of pure devotional service. Point number 1. Silence. Oh, dangerous.
Render devotional service to please Krishna.
Yeah, it should be, service should be favorable for Krishna.
No desire for material profit.
There should be no desire for material profit through fruitive activities. Yes. No philosophical speculation. Right. Yes. No philosophical speculation. Right. And number 4, it should be uninterrupted. Right. No vacations. Definition of pure devotional service. Anya bilasita sunyam gyanakara madhyanavratam anukulyena krishnana silnam bhakti rutama. So you don't have to know the Sanskrit, you just have to understand what the 4 points. There are other points too, but these are 4 main points of pure devotional service. Okay? And then we studied the 2 points, first 2 points of bhava. Bhava is the ecstatic state of chanting Hare Krishna. And point number 1 is, what does that mean, perseverance? Means patience and tolerance in the face of disturbance. One is not offset by any disturbance. They remain patient and tolerant and continue practicing Krishna consciousness. And point number 2,
Use the time correctly. Do not waste.
avyarta kalatvam. Not waste 1 second of your precious life. Use every moment to remember Krishna. Right? And then we explained that that's the way to improve your memory. We destroy the memory by getting diverted toward nonsense. Seeing, hearing, planning for, and thinking about, meditating on nonsense. It destroys our ability to remember Krishna. You want to improve your memory? Avoid all nonsense. Just keep focusing on thinking about Krishna. Now, if you do that, the way to do that is by chanting Hare Krishna. That's the best way to improve your memory, by chanting Hare Krishna without committing any offenses. There are 10 offenses against the holy name, right? 1. Blasphemy of the devotees of dedicated lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. Consider names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be independent or equal to or independent names of Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature and pursuance of the Vedic version. 5. To consider chanting of Hare Krishna as imagination. 6. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities or karma kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of holy names and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now, let's offer our most humble obeisance unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So if you keep your mind focused on Krishna always, then your memory gets much better. You're able to memorize things easily, yes.
Is it better not to chant than to chant and not think of Krishna?
It is better to always chant and think of Krishna. That's the answer to your question. Okay? Do you think there's any other answer to the question? Did you think that it's better not to chant if you can't keep your mind on Krishna? No, it's not. It's actually an offense to do that. You should never stop chanting. But you should improve your ability to chant and remember Krishna. See, why is it that we have difficulty thinking about Krishna even when we chant Hare Krishna? And the mind keeps going somewhere else. Because we've been trained by nonsense not to focus on Krishna. So now we have to train by good sense to always remember Krishna. See? It's just like, let's say you have a dog. Right? I hope you don't have a dog, but let's say you have a dog. Well, if you don't put the dog on a leash and you walk down the street, what will the dog do? Yeah, he'll run here, run there, right? And you always be like, hey, come back here! Don't go ahead! Don't go over there! Don't pass through in that guy's yard! And stop chasing after this person! You know, you'd be after the dog all the time because the dog would be going here and there and doing nonsense, right? Well, the mind is like that dog. You need to have a leash on the dog, and you need to have a leash on the mind. What is that leash? The leash is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. If you don't put that leash on the mind, then it just goes all over the place. And then if someone says, "Well, let's sit down, and listen to the class," I can't, man. I got to keep moving around. I just can't. You know, it's like our Soria. So he's got to always be moving around and, looking here and looking there. And if you stop him from doing something, he starts crying, So you want your mind to be like that? No, you have to train. You got to be trained, just like we're training Surya. And he's trainable, he's learning. But, in that early age, already the mind is, going here and there, right? So if you don't start training the mind, then you won't be able to control it even when you get older. Even when you get to be, 50 years old, you'll still, then mind will be running around all over the place like the dog.
Once I was holding a leash of a dog, and then saw another dog like the same size, and then the dog was running, and I was like dragging behind it.
Well, see, you have to be stronger than the dog.
Well, I wasn't.
Yeah. You see, now the mind is harder to control than the dog. Krishna, what's his name? Arjuna tells Krishna that his mind is harder to control than the wind. Now the wind, can you control the wind? But Krishna tells Arjuna, I know that. He says, I realize that. But with proper practice and determination, you can do it. So let's read that. He says here. Yeah, so if we look in the 6th chapter, verse 34, Chanchala himana Krishna pramati balavadrita dridham tasyaham nigraham manye vair eva suduskaram. So this verse says, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. So let's repeat this. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. So here it says in the purport, okay, you can read the purport. Read out loud. Go ahead.
The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence, although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. For a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately no worldly man can do so, for this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind.
Okay, you see, keep equilibrium towards both friend and enemy. This is one symptom of a person who has control of the mind. Just like it said, it is said, one second. Yeah. Samak satre chamitre cha tata mana pamanayo. Sitosna sukaduke su samak sangha vivarjita. Tulya ninda stuti moni santusto yena kenachit. Anapeksha anaketa stira matir bhakti mam me priya nara. So this is a very important verse. It says, Samaksatro chamitrecha, someone who is equal to both friends and enemies. Tata mana pamanayo, and who is equipoised in honor and dishonor. Sitosna sukadukesu, and also in when it's heat and cold, or hot and cold, and distress and fame and infamy. And then it says, Samak Sangha Vivarjitaha, and who's always free from contaminating association. Right? Tulya Ninda Strutir Moni, and is always silent and satisfied with anything, and who doesn't care for a residence, and is satisfied and is fixed in knowledge, and who's always engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me, Krishna says. This 12th chapter, verses 18 and 19. Samaksatre chamitre cha tatamana pamanayo sitos na sukuduke su sangha samak sangha vivarjitaha tulya ninda stutir moni santusta yena kenachit. So, Aniketa stira matir bhaktiman me priyo nara. So, this ability to keep the equilibrium of the mind in face of friends and enemies, in face of good times and hard times, in heat and cold, in happiness and distress, and so forth. This is a symptom of a person who's actually Krishna conscious. And if someone acts like that, they become very dear to Krishna. Bhaktimam me priyo nara. Nara means a person, a man, a person. Priyo means dear. And Krishna says, Bhaktiman, a person that has that power to control themselves like that, becomes very dear to him. Okay. So, go ahead. The individual is...
in the Vedic literature, quote, the individual is the passenger in the car of the material body, and intelligence is the driver. The mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and the senses. So it is understood by great thinkers. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind. The mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. As an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine, such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga. But such a practice is never practical to control a worldly person or human. But to save the modern man. The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the low mind. It is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great Maha Mantra for deliverance from all humanity.
All humility.
Humility. Thank you. The method prescribed is
Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo.
one must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagements to educate the mind.
That's the key. One should fully engage the mind in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. So this control of the mind is absolutely essential in order to have peace in oneself. Why? Because there's a competition. The driving instrument is the mind, and the senses are the horses, right? And the intelligence is holding the driving instrument. So the driving instrument is a steering wheel. Okay? It's a steering wheel. Or you have the reins. So that's the mind. And then the senses are the horses, right? And the intelligence is the driver. And you, the soul, are the passenger. So, if the senses and the mind overwhelm the intelligence, you're in a dangerous position, because no responsible person is in control of the chariot. Therefore, have you ever see these cowboy movies where there's some lady or little kid on a chariot, and the person that was driving it got shot, and they go, and they fall off, and then the horses get spooked, and now the horses are running as fast as they can, you know. Yeah, you've seen that, right? Yeah. So now people are coming, you know, riding their horses as fast as possible, and then some hero cowboy comes and he's riding his horse and he's right next to the chariot, you know, and then he jumps on the chariot, right? And then he grabs the reins and then stops the horses and saves the little child from death, right? You ever see that? You have, right? You seen that? Yeah. You seen that? Yeah. Well, that is exactly what's happening to us. Sometimes the mind, which are the reins, right, and the horses, which are the senses, overwhelm the intelligence. The intelligence lets go. And now we're like that little kid, and the chariot is going, and the horses are running wild, and all of a sudden, you know, sometimes, you know, the cowboy doesn't catch up to the chariot, and then they hit some rocks or something, and the chariot turns over, and the horses fall down, and the child dies. Or the heroine, the young girl, young lady dies, right? So this is a very nice example. See, there's no cowboys and Indians is nothing new. This is spoken by Krishna 5,000 years ago, right? Go ahead. So finish that. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence, as an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. So this yoga practice, you know, sitting like this, and, you know, breathing in one nostril and breathing out the other. You know, and people can't do that. They can't control the mind doing that. You know, yeah, they do it a little bit and they make a big show. You know, but afterwards they just engage in nonsense again, right? Do you know any yogis who engage in nonsense? People who do yoga and then do nonsense? Yeah, most of them. Most of them. Very few actually control themselves. So, so one must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. So now, what is Krishna's opinion? So here Arjuna throws a big challenge to Krishna. Chanchala himana Krishna. He says it's harder to control the mind than the wind because it's chanchal. It's very flickering. It's not disciplined, and vayur eva saduskaram. It's harder to control than the wind. Yeah, there's a famous story. Somebody passed bad air, and another person chased it to catch it before other people would smell it. Do you think they were able to catch it? No. You see, you can't chase the wind and catch it. It's not possible. You know, even a bad smell. So that's the same with the mind. It's almost impossible to control. However, that's not Krishna's opinion, though. He says, Samsayam samagram mahasamsayam mahabaho va mano durnigritam mano chalam asa durnigritam chalam abhyasena tukonteya vairagena chakriyate. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lord Shri Krishna said, Almighty Armed Son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So let's read that. Who's going to read? Go ahead, yeah. Verse 35. 6th chapter, verse 2. Read out loud.
The difficulty of controlling the
obstinate
mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment, it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings.
So, what's the number one way to control the mind? Huh? What is it? Which is? Hearing. So what would be the number one way not to control the mind? Hearing nonsense. Talking nonsense. Hearing nonsense. You see? Huh? Eating nonsense. Yes, all those ways. So, now, do you know how to control the mind? The best way to control the mind? Which is? Shravanam. Always hearing about Krishna. And refusing to hear anything else. Let's say you're hearing a lecture by some PhD, and he says, there's no God. We all come from monkeys. And we got the proof. We got the fossil record here. You know, you can go to the Pacific Science Museum and see the skeleton of a monkey, the original monkey from which we all came. Now, if you hear nonsense like that, what does it do? Huh?
It's not a very strong claim, and you can just take any monkey and then just show its like spine.
Well, let's say there is they have the prototypical original monkey from which human beings came, the skeleton. Yeah, you don't know. How, where did they get the skeleton from? And they have a little label thing. Reconstructed, skeleton based on the mycelium rexus bone found in Togo, Africa, in 1963. So what? And then they show you there's a little piece of a bone they found, and then they reconstructed the whole monkey from that one little piece of bone, right? Now, that's complete nonsense, right? But you have to read the fine print, right? And they have a little label there on the mycelium rexus, They make up these names. They make up, a skeleton, and it was all done from a little piece of bone. It was small like that, right? And they say this is the ancestor of mankind, right? So, if you examine all this, you'll see the whole thing is nonsense. There's no proof that we came from monkeys, but yet they make a big thing and they have these expensive museums and all these, reconstructed skeletons, Okay, go ahead. Let's finish reading.
The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna.
So now, okay, right up to that sentence, Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of mind and spirit. That explains how to control the mind. Now he's going to start talking about all the Mayavadis, their so-called way of controlling the mind, right? And whenever you say Mayavadi, you have to always see a big minus sign, and after the minus sign you see in big capital letters Krishna. That's what a Mayavadi is. It's minus Krishna. Whatever he's going to say is minus Krishna. That's a Mayavadi, right? Mayavadi means impersonalist. Okay, let's see what their minus Krishna is going to be now. Impersonal spiritual.
Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna.
Yeah, so meditating on the impersonal, imperceptible oneness is more difficult than attaching the mind to meditating on the activities of Krishna. So here's a test, okay? The test for a Mayavadi. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Write this down. This is the test for a Mayavadi, something you're going to learn today. Let's say you meet some Indian kid in school who's being trained to be a Mayavadi, right? And you say, can I ask you a question? He says, sure, yeah, go ahead. I said, what do you meditate on when you meditate? Now, if he says, we meditate on the light, or we meditate on the tip of the nose, or we meditate on nothing, or we meditate on the absolute emptiness, or whatever, anything they say, if it's a minus Krishna, it's a Mayavadi. Okay?
So you asked him that why do you...
No, he says, I do yoga, and I go to, Swadhyay classes. Swadhyay means they study Bhagavad Gita, or the Vedas, right? But with impersonal interpretation. So you just ask, what do you meditate on? So if you start saying we meditate on the light, or we meditate, I meditate on my grandmother, or whatever he says, if it's minus Krishna, right, that means they're Mayavadi. Now, if he says, I meditate on Krishna, you say, well, what do you see when you meditate on Krishna? He says, I see the light. That's minus Krishna again. Right? They're calling the light Krishna, but there's no Krishna involved. Because, when we meditate on Krishna here, do you see some light only? No, if you see some strong light, you go blind, right? No, you see Krishna, right? You see his smiling face, his ears, his nose, his dress, his flute, and right. So that's what we're meditating on, right? If he says we meditate on Krishna, you say what do you see when you meditate on Krishna? We see the light. That means minus Krishna. Okay, that's a Mayavadi, even though he mentioned the name Krishna. Okay, so now you have a test. What does Mayavadi mean? Minus Krishna. You have to draw it. I mean, draw it right now. The big minus sign, and then after that, Krishna. So you have a vivid picture in your mind what a Mayavadi is. It's a minus Krishna.
So when they say light, like mostly lot of Brahma Kumaris and there are a lot in India, and my in-laws also follow them. So is it
Your in-laws are Mayavadis. They're minus Krishnas. Yes.
So that light they say is Krishna.
Yeah, of course they say that. I told you, they'll say, sometimes they say, I meditate on Krishna. You say, well, what do you see exactly? They'll say, I see the light. That's minus Krishna. Right. Okay?
Basically, their focus is on light. That's the reason we are saying, even the light is from Krishna, but they are not keeping Krishna at the top, light on the top.
They don't care a whit about Krishna. They don't care at all about Krishna. They just use the name. Because they know you're a Hare Krishna, so they use the name. And you say, oh, I'm so happy right now. No, but ask them what they're seeing when they're meditating on Krishna. They'll say the light. So there's another Mayavadi. Very clever one. Okay? If this is the only thing you learned today, you've learned something really important. Right? Okay, well.
Unlike an auspicious day in the temple, once they go like
Okay, after the. You can say that after.
यशोमती नंदना ब्रजबर नागर गोकुल रंजन ब्रजबर गोकुल रंजन गोपी परन धन मदन मनो यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना रंजन काना गोपी परन धन मदन मनोहर
परन धन मदन मनोहर
गोपी परन धन मदन मनोहर
गोपी परन मदन मनोहर
कालिय धमन विधाना अमल हरि नाममिय विलासा विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर बोरा वंशी बदन सुवासा ब्रजजन पालना सुरकुल नाशना नंद गोधन रखवाला गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर सुंदर नंद गोपाला यमुना तट चर गोपी बसन हरा रस रसिक कृप मोया श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर Bhakti Vinodashraya Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Baladeva Jayo Subhadra Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Sitaram Jayo Sitaram Sitaram Jayo Bhakta Hanuman Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Koti Vaishnava Amacharya Haridas parents of Vaishnava Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shiva Radha Shiva Gaur Radha Shiva Madhava Ki Gaur Okay, so now finish. What were you saying?
My relatives, they go.
You're my relatives, not my relatives.
It was an exhibition. Vaikunt Ekadashi. They're like, oh my god, it's Vaikunt Ekadashi. We need to go to a party. So they went to a party in the night and then drank and did all that nonsense.
Drinking what?
I don't know. And then,
In India.
yeah.
This is how you celebrate Vaikuntha Ekadasi, right? I know. This is the way. You drink wine to enter into Vaikuntha.
And then once when we were in Jagannath Puri, I was there with him, and then I saw this sage. He looked like a sage. He took a stick and then he like threw it at a dog, and then the dog squealed and ran.
Hmm. Why? Did he think you were a dog or what?
They give offering, right? And they pat your head with some stick.
Uh-huh. Well, he was trying to knock Maya out of your head, but he almost knocked your head off, though. Well, okay. So now, what is the definition of a Mayavadi? What is it? Minus Krishna, yeah. So how can you test to see if someone is a Mayavadi or not?
What do you meditate on?
Right. So if they,
What do you see when you meditate?
right,
Like,
that's minus Krishna. Right. Yes. Okay. So now we have an absolute test to find out who is a genuine devotee and who is a Mayavadi. Mayavadi means someone who always subtracts Krishna from the equation. So, all right. So now we're back to the subject, which is controlling the mind. So here it says, the first and foremost devotional engagement to control the mind is hearing always about Krishna. Okay? This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. What are the misgivings? Oh, I didn't get into the Bitcoin revolution when I should have, and I would be a millionaire today. That's a misgiving. Right? I missed the Bitcoin revolution, right? And then they'll talk about that for the next 10 years. I could have done it. I almost bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. It'd be worth $5 million today. They'll be talking about it the rest of their life, right? So that's a misgiving. So the way to overcome that is to purge the mind of all these misgivings is to hear about Krishna, but hear from a bona fide source. Not from someone who says, "Oh, Krishna is a metaphorical image of some kind of Aryan god that came with the Aryan invasion of North India and pushed all the Dravidians down to the south and brought this pastoral, rustic, insignificant god and somehow or other pummeled him to the highest position in the Indian pantheon we call the Indian pantheon of mythology. So, this is the way they describe Krishna, and it's complete nonsense. Okay, so we have to hear bona fide descriptions of who Krishna is from the bona fide scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. And by the way, I'm going to put you into a little secret right now. You could read the entire Bible, you could read the entire Quran, and virtually get no information about the spiritual world. No information at all about the spiritual world. The only place where there's information about the spiritual world are the Vedas, and especially the Srimad Bhagavatam. No, the 10th canto is very elaborate information about the spiritual world. Now, you can read the Bible all you want. It's very sketchy, hardly anything about what's going on in the spiritual world. The Quran is the same thing. Buddhist scriptures, even less. Right? But it's only in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other bona fide Vedic literatures that there's information about the spiritual world. That alone should be the indication of which scripture you should be reading. That alone. That's enough to make the point of the superior information in the Vedic scriptures. Why is there virtually no information in the Bible and in the Quran? Because when the revelation of the Bible and the Quran were given, the people were on such a low level that Krishna decided not to reveal that information to them, through either Muhammad or Jesus. The people were not ready. They were ready to hear what? Thou shalt not kill. Why? Because they were engaged in killing all the time. In fact, are they still engaged in killing today? Yes.
all these killings they call
Yeah, so such a low level of consciousness, they have to have low level rules. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not violate your mother. Are they still violating their mother? Yes. So even today, even the Hindus are doing that. You read the horrible things that are happening to women in India today. And done by Hindus, not just the Muslims, the Hindus. So therefore, it's all indicative of the degradation in Kali Yuga of religious practice. Okay, so coming back to controlling the mind. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attracting the mind to the activities of Krishna. So that means the impersonalists and the Mayavadis, they always have a difficult time because they have to meditate on something they can't see, they can't feel, they can't perceive with their senses. Can you meditate on something that you can't perceive with your senses and your mind? No, it's very difficult. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita and the 12th chapter, where it says, 12th chapter, verse number 5, Kleso dikaritas te sam, avyakta shakta chetasam, avyakta hi gatir dukam, dehadvabir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So, the people who follow this path of meditation on the inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called jnana yogis, and persons who are in full Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service to the Lord are called bhakti yogis. Now, here the difference between jnana yoga and bhakti yoga is definitely expressed. The process of jnana yoga, although ultimately should bring one to the same goal, is very troublesome. Whereas the path of bhakti yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and is natural for the embodied soul. Are you an embodied soul? Yes. So, why? So sometimes people say, "Oh, this bhakti is too easy. Give me something harder." Like maybe like putting my foot behind my ear, and breathing through one nostril. And well, why would someone want to do something harder, right? That means if they can't do something easier, how are they going to do something harder, right? So the whole thing is nonsense. That's why very few people can achieve success in the practice of jnana yoga or dhyana yoga, because this is the age of Kali. It's not even recommended. That's those type of yogas. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna rejected doing jnana yoga, right, and Astanga yoga. So why should we try and do it 5,000 years later in Kali Yuga when the conditions now are even worse than they were 5,000 years ago, you see? So therefore, all yoga practice today is just centered on the body. Improving one's health, improving one's sense gratification, and having this false sense of peace and so forth. Is there some peace and health by doing yoga? Yes. Is that the goal of yoga? No. It's not the goal of yoga. What is the goal of yoga? Yoginam apisarve samad gatanantaratmana shadavam bhajate yomam same yuktatamo matak. 6th chapter, 47th verse, which says, and this is Krishna's opinion, after explaining all the different types of yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, astanga yoga. Those are the three main headlines of yoga, and their sub categories in each one, right? So, whether it's Raja Yoga, it's Kriya Yoga, this thing, that thing, they're all under these three categories. So it says here, And of all the yogis, Arjuna, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. That's bhakti. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So, whose opinion should we take? Some Baba, or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Yes. He's the real authority. He's the one that spoke Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So now, coming back to this, it says, impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical, because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. So, how do we know this? Well, we know this from politics. When there's a political election cycle, everyone's, has these flags and signs, Trump, 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 or Hillary, 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 and then all day long on the news is, well, Hillary did this, and Hillary did that, and Hillary's wonderful, and Hillary's a nice person, and she's not mean like Trump, and Hillary this and Hillary that, and then the other side, Trump did this, and Trump did that, and Trump is a nice guy, and he's much meaner than Hillary, well, why are they speaking like that all the time? The more they speak about these people, the more you begin to believe, oh, yes, Trump is a good guy, or Hillary is a good person, So the more you hear about Krishna, right, the more you'll understand that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The politicians simply imitate this principle of constant repetition and glorification. But what are they glorifying? They're glorifying a dead body. It's like decorating a dead body. When I remember one time, this one person died, and they wanted me to come into the funeral home while they were washing the body and perform the last rites. So I did that. And I was watching all the things they were doing. Like it's like getting a manicure in a health spa. They cut the fingernails, they shave the person, they shampoo the hair. I'm not kidding you. They put on makeup. So in the final wake, the final viewing of the person, I heard someone say, he looks better dead than he was alive. Yeah, they made the person up so good, put him in brand new clothes and everything. He looked better dead than alive, right? So this is, decorating a dead body. That is, glorifying nonsense people. That's what it is. It's decorating a dead body. But you glorify Krishna, that's glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you hear that glorification, you become purified. But by decorating a dead body, glorifying a nonsense person, you become contaminated by hearing that glorification. So we should understand where the real way to control the mind. It's to hear the transcendental descriptions of the qualities and pastimes of the Lord. So that's what the scriptures are. The scriptures are not glorifying politicians. They're glorifying Lord Narayana or Lord Rama or Lord Krishna. And that purifies your mind. But hearing those other descriptions glorifying mundane people, it contaminates your mind. So then it says, this is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called paresanubhava, spiritual satisfaction. Okay, so what is this spiritual satisfaction? There's a verse in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Bhakti parasanubhavo vyaktir anyaitra chaisa chika ekakala prapadyamanasya yatasnata syus tusti pusti shud apaya nugasam. This verse, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 42nd verse of Bhagavatam says, devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things, these three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. in the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite of food for a person engaged in eating. So, let's say we have a feast in the temple and we have lasagna, right? Now, usually whenever we have lasagna, we also have rice and dal and sabji and everything. So all the little kids, they come up and we start making a plate with rice and dal, and they say, no, I don't want that. So, oh, what do you want? Just give me lasagna, right? So as soon as they get the lasagna, they start eating the lasagna, right? And then they come back, sometimes seconds, thirds, and fourths. We say, well, you want a little dal? No, I don't want that. Just give me the lasagna, right? So we see how there is tusti, pusti, shud, apayo. What is that? Tusti means satisfaction. Tusti means happiness, right? And satisfaction. Pusti means one feels complete, completely full, right? And shuddhapayo means they no longer have any hunger, right? So this is what happens if you hear about Krishna. You'll be completely satisfied. Bona fide information about Krishna. You'll be completely satisfied. You'll be filled, right, to your maximum. And there will be no hunger for nonsense anymore. You'll be hungering only for Krishna because of the tastiness of Krishna Katha. This is where this word comes from, parisanubhava. Spiritual satisfaction. It is just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore the expert treatment for the mind, the mad mind, and eating the foodstuff offered to Krishna, meaning prasadam, is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Grantha Raja Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi Haribol. So, what is the treatment for the mad mind, for the crazy mind? What? Hearing about Krishna. And so there's two things. When a person is sick, like many people are getting the flu right now, right? You get a sore throat and you have pain all over your body and you feel terrible, right? So what does the doctor say? You go to the doctor and he says, well, it's a two-pronged process, dear patient, to overcome this flu. One is proper treatment, and two is proper diet. So, what is the proper treatment for the crazy mind? Hearing about Krishna. What is the proper diet for the crazy mind? No, eating prasadam, only prasadam, not burgers, not dogs, but food offered to Krishna and offered back as His mercy. So that's our process. We hear about Krishna just like we heard about Krishna just now. And then the second installment of mental sanity, eat prasadam. Right, Hare Krishna. So any questions? Yeah. 12 point? Okay. It means coming to class and hearing Bhagavat Darshan, and then after class going downstairs and eating Mahaprasadam. And then if you have some energy, you can wash the dishes, you can come up and make garlands, you can go out on Sankirtan, you can preach to people that come, you can clean the temple, you can help with the accounting, you can organize festivals. You got the idea? And all that time, you're in association of devotees, and you're continuing to hear about Krishna and have prasadam. It's purifying.
Is there burritos today?
Are there burritos today? First of all, you have to learn proper English. If you have improper English, you can't eat a burrito. Are there burritos today? The answer is no, but there's other prasadam. Yeah. Today we have South Indian prasadam. Sambar and lemon rice and yogurt rice. Yes. Okay. So, yeah.
Followed by that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me. So when you say worshipping me means all that devotional service, like
Yeah.
anything related to Krishna.
Yes. Yes. With great and transcendental faith, don't forget that, worshiping me with great and transcendental faith, they are considered by me to be most perfect, much better than meditating on the light. Okay, thank you very much. We'll stop here. Now we're going to have a wonderful Kalyanam, marriage ceremony. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.